Alright. Hey guys, we'll be running Jazz 2 for you today. I'm Dominator 101.
Treylina or Treyazeros, whatever.
Alright. So real quick before we start, just want to go over the category. So we're running episodes 1 through 4 as Lori. So the episodes aren't named like they are in Jazz 1, but basically that means formerly a prince through Funky Monkeys. So we'll be running these 4 episodes. And then each rabbit...
it used to be called Any, but because we found like a warp skip, it became episodes 1 to 4 instead.
Yeah, it used to just be called Any Percent like every other game, but we switched it a few years ago. Yeah, and then each character has different special moves. So we'll be running as Lori. So we will have a sidekick and copter. Alright, I will count us down. Are you... Okay, looks like you're on level select. So...
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so the first trick of the run is technically the first frame of the run, so you may have noticed we kind of like jumped up in the air, even though we spawned in the air. In most levels in this game, if you buffer a jump into it, you'll actually be able to kind of jump off the air like that. And there's going to be one level where that's very important, but I'm going to kind of bury the lead on that until we... I do want to start talking about the first boss of the run. It's going to be in the next level, and it's the most random boss in the entire run.
Yeah.
So, thankfully, we do have a way to mitigate it with some RNG manipulation. The way RNG works in this game is when something calls the RNG, the value it looks up is based on the frame that it calls the RNG. So what you're going to see us do is a save load, and what that does is resets the frame count to 0. So then as long as we can run straight into the arena with no interruptions, we know that we'll be getting a pattern we can manipulate. So... Oh, and you know what? I'm going to reload this. I want to at least try. I missed the bat, which is actually very important. I need to kill that bat. Because he is going to help us.
We're doing the easy version. Oh, I messed up already. GG.
Alright, my first minute went through fine.
I got hit by the bat. Yeah, even the easy version is tricky.
Yeah. Alright. And I got a perfect queen fight there. Just 9 single stomps. I think that's the first time I've gotten that in a marathon, so I'm real happy about that. But yeah, that... As you may be able to see on Trey's feed, that the queen can do multiple attacks per cycle, and she also has a scream attack, which I didn't see at all, but it does take longer than a stomp, so optimally we just want to see those 9 single stomps, and then get the heck out of there.
Yeah, the easy version is where like she screams once, but the rest of the attacks she stomps.
Yeah, and as long as it's a single scream, it's not too bad, so... That's what Trey was going for. I do want to give some shoutouts to Binary Blob for doing a lot of the groundwork on how the Queen RNG worked, well, how RNG works in this game in general, and getting us closer to finding that manip.
Oh yeah, so yeah, damage boosting with Lori is very useful because she has more hurt frames.
Oh yeah, yeah. So both Lori and Jazz have copter ears, which they can use for damage boosting. Lori can get slightly higher because her animation is longer. Another thing about Lori, which you may have seen me do there, is her sidekick. While it doesn't have all the same utility as Spaz's sidekick, it does have kind of its own uses, so you saw me get a large burst of speed off that enemy. The initial kick is very short, but it has a large burst of speed at the beginning, and we can utilize that by interrupting it on certain types of enemies and things, and it's actually going to be very important in the last level, but that's another thing I'm going to bury the lead on for now, so... we can kind of use it on bosses. Oh, I misplaced a little bit there. Yeah, so if you've seen a Spaz run of this game, you may know that he can basically just sit on bosses and instantly annihilate them with his sidekick. Because of that speed boost that I was talking about with Lori's kick, she can't do that as easily. If you stay centered on the boss, you can do it a little bit, but it's still not as effective as Spaz is. And she also isn't invincible when doing it, like Spaz is, so she has to take damage. We do it on that boss because we can pull a shield in, so that makes it worth it in the end, because you only need to take damage once, or you might be able to do it without taking damage if you preserve enough field.
Oh yeah, this tile set's very heavily inspired, as you can see. Ooh, nice, I got the jump.
Oh, the, I think I got the same one. I don't usually even go for it, but I just kind of went for it yesterday.
The weirder science jump?
Yeah, I assume I know the one you're talking about, like before the hooks.
Yeah, it feels good when you do get it, though.
So I guess something to talk about that should be coming up in this level is a sugar rush. So there's these little food things that we're collecting. When you get 100 of them, you get a sugar rush, which is basically like a Starman or whatever other invincibility type item. You damage enemies on contact. Oh wow, I didn't get. I was supposed to get it there. I can get it. And you also break certain types of blocks, which I would have liked to get it there so that I can skip the butt stomp on these blocks, because I could just crash right through them. Wow, I was really behind on my but yeah, it's really good for this section also, because these spike balls are annoying. But with the sugar rush, we can just kind of move right through them, no problem. The boss on this level is also going to be fun. We have a nice trick for him that I really wish we had in the Spaz run, but it doesn't work, unfortunately. Well, it works. We just don't have what we need to do it. So I'll be coming up into the boss shortly. And then what I'm going to do is, once he gets to the ground, I'm going to shoot him with... I'm going to shoot him with the ice weapon, if I can actually swap weapons properly. And then he's just going to kind of stop moving. Which is super nice. It makes him really easy to kill. And you may think, well, of course he stopped moving. You shot him with an ice weapon. But when he unthaws, which happens as soon as you shoot him, he's supposed to start moving again. But for some reason, he just doesn't. So... unfortunately, Spaz doesn't get ice early enough to be able to do that in his run. So he has to wait for the boss to stop moving to kick him. Which... sometimes that boss has a mind of its own.
Oh no! So yeah, pretty much virtually every weapon is useful in the game, except for like, Gun 8, which is Pepper.
Yeah.
It's just kind of there.
Yeah,
It is nice that most weapons do have a use.
Yeah, that's one of the
usually
things
with
I
like
really
speed
like.
runs, like very little things are actually useful. You just cheese the hell out of something overpowered. But with
Oh,
this game,
jeez,
it's
I didn't
pretty
think I was going
balanced.
to get that butt stomp. I was a mile away from that guy. But yeah, that's one thing I do like about this run, is that each weapon kind of has its own use. Pepper spray kind of can be situational. It does shoot 2 projectiles, so sometimes for shootable walls you might use it, but for the most part it's just kind of ignored, because the projectiles are so slow and doesn't really give you much over just your standard blaster. We're gonna get a really nice weapon in this level, and that's the RF missiles. So what's nice about them is they do 2 damage, they shoot 2 projectiles, like each projectile does 2 damage, and also they have blast knockback, which means we can also use it for some tricks. Also, real quick, just kind of clip through that hat there. Lori's sidekick can just kind of do that sometimes. It's a little finicky, that one's real dependent on your positioning, so usually just kind of go for it, and if I don't get it, just jump in the hat normally, but...
So yeah, it's nice to preemptively fire the toaster blocks, not toaster, the toaster ammo, so you can mow down destructible scenery really quickly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the other nice thing about Toaster is, depending on what enemies are in a level, you can use it to kind of make a wall in front of yourself. Real quick though, coming into Funky Groovathon, where we get another really nice weapon, and that is TNT, and hopefully I can show you what we... No! I knew I was gonna
Did
screw
you
that.
fail the climb?
Yeah, and it was like 3/4 of the way up.
You
You
might have a
got
chance to catch up then.
you kind of got the idea of that though, and hopefully Trey will be able to show you what's actually supposed to happen. Because all this
Hopefully.
stuff, yeah, all this stuff I'm doing right now, we don't usually see this in a run. Because it's not really an out of bounds, but that was just didn't really put any bounds on the top of that wall that I was trying to climb up, and it leads right
great,
to
I
the end of
failed
the
it.
level.
GG.
Oh man.
I thought of making a save back up, but I thought, no, let's do the YOLO.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate. Really would have liked to show that off, but the timing it's not like super precise. It's not like it's frame perfect or anything, but sometimes, especially
tight.
yeah, especially with nerves in the mix, you might rush it a bit, which I think is what I did. But it happens. We'll have one really small TNT climb in Medievo, and so
Yeah.
now's where I bring up that lead I buried earlier. So you're gonna see me jump into this level, even though the layout doesn't seem like it would particularly help anything. Like it's not like I'm trying to get downward momentum or jump over something. But the important thing to note is that I'm supposed to be underwater right now, because every platformer's gotta have an underwater level. And so the triggers to spawn the water are placed to the sides and underneath your character spawn. Because, I mean, surely you're not going to be able to jump if you spawn in midair, so why do we need to put one above you?
I did the Beach Bunny Bingo TNT climb.
Oh, you went for swag climb? Nice. I never do that.
Well, I think it saves some time, but not very much. I do it because I get it consistently.
Alright, that boss was kind of nice. But yeah, so in water you move at like half speed, I think, so just being able to run through the water section is way faster. Also, one thing to note is we are now officially halfway through the game, so this game moves pretty quick. Most of the levels in this game are less than a minute. Oh, I missed the cycle here. Yeah, most are less than a minute. I forget how many are over a minute for Jazz and Lori, but I think Spaz only has 3 of them, so it moves pretty quick. There's also going to be a fun skip coming up in the next level. So if you've seen like a Mega Man run or some other platforms have it, you might be familiar with the concept of zipping, where you kind of get lodged in a wall and then the collision engine tries to push you out. So it moves you through the wall, usually pretty quickly. We kind of have something like that. So I'm going to get damaged onto this pole, and then hold jump. And I'm going to get pushed through the wall. It's just not going to be terribly zippy. And
It's very sticky.
also, I hope you're enjoying the wonderful Lori sounds.
That's my impression.
And so one other thing to note is holding jump is not sufficient to exit the wall. To exit, you actually have to just butt stomp a lot at the bottom. And you have to do that relatively quickly, or you will kind of keep getting pushed up more than you're pushed down. So another fun trick coming up in this level. I got sent to the left, but I should be able to make this. Yeah. Alright, so that is hyper boosting. So we talked earlier about damage boosting with copter ears. The fun thing you can do is combine that with explosive knockback and get really... Oh, come on. And you can get a lot of air with that. So we'll see at least one more. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. There's one main one I'm going to be going for. Trey might go for some other ones. I don't remember.
Oh, I tried to clip through the pole. It didn't save much time, but it looks cool.
Okay, so you'll see me get another Sugar Rush here. This one isn't really planned. It's not terribly useful. I mean, it ended up being useful there because I hit those eyes. I can't make this jump here. But most...
Did you talk about hyper boosting yet?
Hyper boosting, yeah. Yeah, I talked about that.
The quick cycle. That was a good electric boogaloo.
Alright, so you're gonna see another TNT climb in this level. It's a really short one. The thing that sucks about this one is when you spawn in, you have iframes, and if you shoot TNT while you have iframes, it does absolutely nothing. It won't even hurt enemies, it won't knock you back, it does nothing. So we have to wait for those iframes to run out, but it is much faster to do that climb because you skip, like, 3/4 level. So. And now the fun part. So now we're at the part of the run where I pretend that I'm suddenly playing very badly as I clearly intentionally take damage on all of these things, and then I act surprised when I die. So. Oh no, how could this happen? Alright, so, if you've seen a speedrun before, you might be familiar with the concept of death warping, where you intentionally die to get warped somewhere else. A lot of times that's used to warp backwards somewhere that you've already been. But here, what's really cool is we can actually use it to move forward in the level. So last level, we got the Electro Blaster weapon, and what that allows us to shoot through walls, which is really, really nice, because the way that checkpoints in this game are activated is either by running into them or by shooting them. So if we have a weapon that can shoot through walls, and we can line up with a checkpoint that's further ahead in the level, we can actually death warp forwards. And you're gonna see that again in this level. It's real nice that they grouped them for us right after giving us Electro Blaster. It's like, this is how the devs intended it. Yeah, and here...
I was really scared there. I did the save back up.
Oh. Yeah, and so you can kind of see on this one, the screen scrolls over far enough for you to see the checkpoint I was shooting at for a second before the camera scrolls back. So that just gives you an idea of what we're shooting at. Also, this, that last level I did was the first level of episode 4, so we are rapidly approaching the end. We still got some hard levels to go before then. Wow, that was not good enough. Oh, did I shoot under that monkey? Wow.
Did you feel the warp?
No, I was trying to ice the monkey in the next level, and, like, somehow the ice went under him. Alright.
What?
Now everyone say hi to Jazz. Gonna show him off. There's no reason to turn into Jazz here. Does absolutely nothing. But figured his game, he should at least be able to show up a little bit to the run, so...
Yeah, I failed the death warp somehow. I thought I got it, but nope, I didn't. That's happened again. Thank God for save backups.
I hate that here, man.
It's weird because, like, in my practice, I was getting it.
Ah, crap. I think this should be fine, yeah. So that boss there, you already would have seen it on the Medieval boss, but I think I was too busy talking about death warps and kind of glossed over it, but that boss just showcases how fast we can do damage with RF missiles, because another thing that I kind of glossed over in the Medieval was I got an upgrade to the RF missiles, which make it shoot a third projectile, which means it's now doing 6 damage if we're right on top of the boss instead of just... So, really, really nice. Which we also shoot that through the wall with the Electro Blaster, so Electro Blaster is a pretty nice weapon. You get it really late, but it's got those two nice nice uses. Just do a quick RF boost there. Alright, I really hope I get the trick in this next level.
This TNT swag damage boost.
Nice. Alright, so that's another hyper boost there, and that one, I think that's my favorite hyper boost of the run. It just looks so cool.
Same.
And here we are in the final level. We're already just about done.
Oh,
Gonna have
boy.
another... Well, we're gonna have a couple cool tricks in this level. So, hopefully I can get the climb here. These copter guys that are chasing me, they're going to help me to get up through the bottom of this bridge. Skip a really annoying section of the level. That was a little jank, but we got a nice RF boost to so that we don't have to fall down that pit and climb back out. And now we will be coming up on the final boss. Just gotta get past a couple copter guys.
I didn't get the shield. Sad face.
Oh, I don't even go for the shield. Well, I guess you don't have to worry about it crashing, so it makes more sense to go for it. So I'm gonna try and use up TNT here to get 28 just to make this easier. And now... And that was the final boss. I will explain what the heck just happened, but first, time will be when Lori runs off the screen here. So, in 3, 2, 1, time. Alright, so, what the heck was that? Where the heck was the final boss? You may be even more surprised when I tell you that that final boss had 2 phases. The final boss that you basically didn't see. So what happens there is that large burst of speed from Lori's kick, if you align yourself against that wall and use it, you'll actually kick right past the event that activates the boss. The boss is always there, he's just not activated until you cross that event trigger. So we kick past that, and then just use TNT to line up next to his hitbox and just take out all of phase 1, or almost all of phase 1. You saw me pause for a little bit, and then kick to the side and place another TNT. So if phase 1 is finished with a melee attack, it doesn't reset his health properly for phase 2. So you just need to deal 1 hit to the second phase, and he's done. So, really fast boss. Lori's the only one who can do that, also. Wish we could do that as the other rabbits, but they have their own things.
I had a pretty good bad pit start. It was a good pit, not a bad pit.
Oh man, I got a I had my splits running. I got a 20:05. Man, I was really hoping for sub 20. 20:05 is still real marathon though.
Got the hyper boost there.
Oh, did you go for one in bad pit?
I bonked the wall. Yeah, I like to do some spicy strats. Right. Whew. Alright, it's coming in a moment. Time.
Alright.
That was pretty rough. Good lord. I
Yeah.
mean, for like a last minute D-Rust, it was okay.
Yeah, I mean the Lori run can be a little rough sometimes. It's
It can
definitely
be a bit volatile.
yeah, because it didn't used to have all these cool tricks like the hyper boosts and the Devon skip. So it's definitely a lot more interesting than it used to be. It used to be my least favorite run by far. But the hyper
Yeah, it
boosts
used
and
to be
stuff.
just inferior Jazz.
Yeah.
But then once we found all this tech, it was like, oh, alright, she's cool now.
Yeah. Yeah, Jazz also gets most of the hyper boosts, but they're definitely easier as Lori, because like we said, she gets a higher boost with her copter ears because of her animation, and that applies to hyper boost as well as far as I'm aware. So yeah. I think that's it for us, unless you've got anything else you want to say, Trey.
Shout out to the Jackrabbit 2 community.
Yeah.
You know, it's small, but it's dedicated.
Yeah, and if you thought this game looked interesting, either for speedrunning or just multiplayer, there's also a multiplayer scene for it, so it's the same Discord if you want to join. But yeah, thanks for having us. We'll let you get on to the next game.
I can't fit shots fired in there, so it's just shots fired.